I don't think there's any job in the world quite like mine. It's my job essentially to provoke discussion in our democracy about issues of the day. It's my job to be a provocateur, essentially, and to argue a political point of view. I don't think there's any job quite in the world like that, except maybe in waste management. At least that's what some readers would suggest who disagree with my points of view. An editorial cartoonist needs a wide range of peculiar skills. I think first and foremost, the ability to draw fairly well, because that's the communication media we rely upon. An excellent sense of humor is very helpful, because it's my job to take unpalatable political issues, express a viewpoint in a palatable fashion to draw people towards thinking about the issues, talking about the issues, and even participating. And I think thirdly, a cartoonist needs a strange blend of the same sets of skills that a theatrical producer needs. In that when I create a daily cartoon, I write the script, I assign the cast, I choreograph the stage, and then I draw all of this into a statement. I can't think of any other skills. In fact, I remember telling my father, he's very worried about me finding a job when I was a young kid. My father was a master sergeant, first civilian in generations of real men. And I remember he was so worried about me when I finally made the argument that I have the perfect background for a cartoonist because I have no useful real-world skills whatsoever. The easiest person for me to capture and caricature in my career was an Arizona governor, and his name was Evan Meekum. Now, Evan Meekum was a World War II ace. He served honorably. He was a war hero. He died recently at the Veterans Hospital, but in the middle of his, towards the end of his life, he ran for governor, and he won by strange luck. And he was a godsend to political cartoonists because he approached every problem with an open mouth. He would say amazing things. He was instant copy, saying things such as, to the Pope, he said, next time you come, be sure and bring the little lady, when the Pope visited Phoenix. And he made other comments. That, when he was asked about the issue of the MLK Day, which he jettisoned, and he answered by saying that he said, I'm not a racist. In fact, I have a black man who works for me at my Pontiac dealership. I didn't hire him because he was black. I hired him because he was the best man for the cotton picking job. Now, not only was he a gift to cartoonists by virtue of what he said and did, but also his appearance. He had a very folksy appearance, very friendly man, but he wore a hairpiece. And the hairpiece was clearly evident it was a hairpiece. It had its own bald spot, its own dandruff. And I added the cheap shot touch of always placing a price tag hanging from the hairpiece, much like that country western comedian whose name escapes, Minnie Pearl. Yeah, that was a golden age. Yeah, he was an interesting face to draw and an interesting focus for talking about the issues. The hardest to draw, the hardest subject I had to draw was also the easiest subject, one of the easiest subjects I had to draw, and that would be former Governor Rose Mofford. I'll tell you why she was hard to draw, because she caught me drawing a likeness of her once in her office while I was supposed to be taking notes as a reporter was grilling her about the budget. And she was so easy to draw. She had a face like Aunt Bee, and I piled a beehive hairdo on top of it that looked like the Washington Monument on top of her head. She had these enormous fake eyelashes. Anyway, I'm sketching away, and the interview's ended, and I'm caught, and I hand her the drawing, and that was a hard moment because my little chicken heart was pounding, because it was as though I had drawn Mom. She just had that manner about her. And I was caught just like when I was a kid in the back of the classroom. She took the drawing, she looks at it with these big fake eyelashes, and then she laughed, which I thought was really cool. She had a good sense of humor about herself. You know, we cartoonists talk often among ourselves about sacred cows, what is off limits and what is permissible. If something makes me feel a little bit queasy, to me that's my own internal censor that it's off limits, and that would probably include nuns and orphans. Beyond that, I really don't respect sacred cows. One of my favorite quotes comes from Mark Twain. He said, "Sacred cows make the best hamburger." About the only issue about which I feel uncomfortable commenting is the issue of religion, because that's such a personal, intrinsic part of a person's identity, held very sacred by many people. So when I talk about issues that touch on religion, I do struggle to be a little bit more cautious than I might be otherwise. But for the most part, I am not cautious. That is the responsibility of my editor to save me from myself. For the most part, I am juvenile, adolescent, and very immature. Proudly so. You know, the targets of my humor respond to me in different fashions. One of my favorite events years ago, a county supervisor whom I was relentless in cartooning cornered me at a public venue, and he said, "Your cartoons have just really been mean-spirited. I can't bear your cartoons. I want you to do me a favor, little man. I want you to take all of your cartoons about me, roll them up, and shove them into an envelope, mail them to me, because I want to hang them on my office wall." I was relieved, but yet I was also disappointed, because one of the childish desires of some political cartoonists, including myself, is to annoy and to irritate the black hats that we depict in our cartoons. I've had radio talk show hosts refer to me as a pea brain. I've had encounters in the supermarket with readers who want to wag their fingers at me and chastise me, and I'm grateful that they care enough about what I create to actually respond, because another mission I feel I have that's dear to me is to upend apathy. So anytime I get any kind of response, I'm delighted, save for death threats. You know, some people wonder if I was a troublemaker when I was in grade school. Actually, I was a good student. I was a nerd. I was very shy. I came from a military family, so a very disciplined home life. My skills as a cartoonist did begin to blossom at about the 7th grade, and I've often made the joke that, you know, those are the best 3 years of my life. My 7th grade history teacher, who's now a dear friend, caught me in the act of rendering a likeness of her that was wholly inappropriate. And as she was chastising me, she suggested that maybe I ought to make better use of my skills and consider working for the yearbook staff. I was off and running from that point on, and then onto the newspaper staff at the high school, worked for the Wildcat at the U of A, and I was hooked. I do draw caricatures of my colleagues from time to time, and those are called desktop prizes, because those immediately get shoved into a desktop and they are never seen again. I have the wisdom to not sign some of them, as if, you know, someone, well, gee, I wonder who drew this cartoon. Could it be one of the writers or one of the photographers? No.